Assalamu alaikum. How are you all? I hope you are taking good care of yourself. As you all know, in biology, we have started with the first unit, that is structure and function of living organisms. In this unit, we were looking at the first topic, that was life processes. In life processes, we also saw a few subtopics like characteristics of living things. Do you remember Mrs. Gren? Yes. Then I also sent you two short videos where we revised the difference between respiration and breathing, and also aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Now, today we are going to start with another subtopic. I am sure you might be hearing this word day in and out since the past 3 months. Any guesses what our topic is today? Virus, isn't it? Day and night we are just hearing news about coronavirus, so many cases. So let us see what viruses are in detail. The first thing that you need to know is that viruses are obligate parasites. Viruses are obligate parasites. That means they can reproduce inside a living cell. They do not have their own machinery to reproduce and to grow. So they can only reproduce inside living cells. So all you need to remember is viruses are parasites. Viruses are obligate parasites and they can only reproduce inside living cells. Now these viruses cause harm to the cells of living things. The cell in which the virus lives is called as the host cell. For example, the virus is living in a plant cell, so that cell is called as the host cell. There are many different types of viruses. Some lives in the cells of animals, some lives in plants, and there are even viruses which infect bacteria. So virus can infect any living thing like plants, animals, human beings, and even bacteria. Viruses are much smaller than a bacterial cell. So what is the size of the virus then? Most are between 0.01 and 0.1 micrometer in diameter. As I told you, viruses don't just parasiticize animal, some infect plant cells also. So one such example is the tobacco mosaic virus, which interferes with the ability of the tobacco plant to make chloroplasts. So that causes patches to develop on the leaves. So that is called as a tobacco mosaic virus disease. So this disease is caused to the plants by a virus which is called as the tobacco mosaic virus. Let us see how is the structure of this virus. First and the most important thing that you need to remember here is that viruses are not made of cells. A virus particle is very simple. As you can see the structure, it lacks nucleus. It has no nucleus, it has no cytoplasm, but it is composed of genetic material surrounded by a protein coat. Can you see in the picture those balls, right? The genetic material, that is DNA. Some viruses may have DNA, some viruses may have RNA. So DNA or RNA is the genetic material, and this genetic material is surrounded by a protein coat. In either case, the genetic material makes up just a few genes that is needed for the virus to reproduce inside the host cell. Sometimes a virus may also have a membrane which is called as envelope. It may surround a virus particle, but the most important thing, the virus does not make this. So where is this membrane coming from? This membrane is stolen from the surface membrane of the host cell. So how is the structure of a virus? Virus consists of a genetic material. That genetic material can either be DNA or RNA. And this genetic material is surrounded by a protein coat. Some viruses may also have an envelope which surrounds the protein coat. But this envelope does not belong to the virus. So where is that coming? They come from the surface membrane of the host cell. And if you see the size of the virus is approximately from 0.01 to 0.1 micrometers. So you imagine how small is the size of this virus, but this small being has created havoc in the world, right? The entire world has come to a stop just because of this small little creature. So we must never underestimate anybody, right? Let's move ahead. Now, we are going to see how a virus reproduces. How is it going to enter a living cell? The very first step is of adsorption. The blue color thing is the cell, the orange is a virus, right? So first thing that it is going to do is a virus is going to reproduce by entering the host cell and taking over the host's genetic machinery, right, to make more particles. He wants to generate an army, the virus. So for that he needs to take over the host's machinery. First thing that is going to happen is that the virus is going to stick itself to the host cell. Second step, that is entry. So it is not going to enter completely, but it is going to send in the genetic material. Then it is going to replicate. Replicate, that means more and more copies are made. Then it is going to assemble, like it is made in parts. Head is made separate, then you've got the genetic material, you've got the tail. So in assembly, it is going to all the parts of the puzzle will be joined, and finally it is going to release. How is it going to release? It is going to kill the host cell and then it is going to release. After many virus particles have been made, the host cell dies and the particles are released to infect more cells. Now, next that we are going to see is, are these viruses living? What do you think? Let's think about it. Are these living? Let me help you. Who's saying this? Mrs. Gren. Who is this Mrs. Gren? Let's quickly recall. I want you to repeat it quickly. Movement, respiration, sensitivity, growth, reproduction, excretion, and finally nutrition. So based on Mrs. Gren, you are going to tell me if a virus particle is living or non-living. What do you think? Do viruses feed? They respire? Do they excrete? No, viruses do not feed, respire, excrete, move, grow, or respond to their surroundings. Right? They do not carry any of the normal characteristics of living things except for reproduction. They only carry out the characteristics of reproduction. Right? We saw in how it reproduces in the previous slide. How is it reproducing? I told you the steps. Adsorption, entry, replication. It is going to make many more copies and then it is going to assemble and finally release. So the only characteristic that viruses undergo is reproduction. How are they doing it? They can do this parasitically. That means it is going to enter a host cell. use the host cell's machinery, make more copies, and then it is going to destroy the host cell. This is the reason why biologists do not consider viruses to be living organisms, right? So you can think them as being on the border between an organism, that is a living organism, and a non-living organism, right? Let's have a quick overview or discuss some more characteristics of viruses. Viruses cannot be observed using a light microscope. Light microscope, the microscope which we have in our school, right? We've used it so many times. So that is a light microscope. But do you remember observing a virus under it? No, we have observed a bacteria, we have observed a fungus, but did we observe a virus? No. Why? Because they cannot be observed under a light microscope. The resolution is not that high and the size of the virus is extremely small. Second one, they have no internal cellular structure. Do they have a structure? Do they have a nucleus, cytoplasm? No. They contain either DNA or RNA, but not both. Everybody contains genetic material, right? Why even viruses do. But that genetic material is in either a DNA or RNA. Some viruses may have DNA as their genetic material. Some viruses may have RNA as their genetic material, but not both. They are incapable of metabolism, obviously, right? Because they are dependent on the host. Viruses are smaller than bacteria. Then they reproduce or they replicate only inside living cells. And viruses also lack cellular organelles such as mitochondria and ribosomes. So what all did we study about viruses? First thing we saw, what are viruses? They are obligate parasites that grow inside a living cell, right? Then we saw the structure of a virus, how it reproduces, right? And then we also learned why virus may not be classified as living organisms. Why? Because they only reproduce and do not follow any other characteristics of Mrs. Gren. So biologists have declared them as non-living. They have considered them to be non-living organism. They told that they may be at the border between a living and a non-living organism, right? Yes. So now this corona thing has done one good thing for you. It may fetch you 1 mark in the paper because everybody is so pro in learning the word corona. So if the examiner or the question asks, give any example of virus, I am sure I'm going to read coronavirus in all the papers. So it is going to fetch you 1 mark, right? So you're going to also find out different examples of viruses. Let me tell you a few. You have got influenza virus, right? Your chickenpox. Chickenpox is also a viral disease. I hope you remember the diseases caused by virus that we studied last year. So what is this slide telling you? Stay home, stay safe. Why? Because corona is still in the air, right? You know the importance of staying at home because you have also studied the modes of transmission of these virus particles, right? How they are transmitted. We've studied it, right? They are transmitted through air, through contaminated objects, person to person contact, that is by shaking hands, or they are also transmitted through animals and even food and water, right? So you need to be extra careful these days. Take precautions. That is why we are taking so many precautions. Washing our hands again and again, using sanitizers and disinfectants, wearing a mask, covering our face, wearing gloves. So as you know more details, please guide people around you, your family, your friends, your siblings, and take precautions. So that's all for today's class. And I hope you enjoyed learning with me, and I'll see you in the next class. Until then, take care and Be safe. Thank you so much.